This video is about what is the debit note and what is the credit note and how we enter journal entries about these document type in our books of accounts. One of my friend comes to me and he said that he received debit note one of his party and he is confused about it because he don't know how to enter that debit note in his books of account or and he also need to me explain that difference between the debit note and credit note. So here we take example of purchasing the goods. Mr. George purchased rupees 15,000 goods one of his vendor, Mr. Matthew. After receiving invoice, goods and making the payment, he came to know that the goods are not that up to the quality as he intended, that the goods are of inferior quality of rupees 4,000 and he need to return that goods to Mr. Matthews. On that transaction, when he returned the goods, that is purchase return, Mr. George issued debit note to the Mr. Matthews. On the other hand, against that debit note, Mr. Matthews issued credit note to George. Then why Mr. George issued that debit note? If we look at the first journal entry when we purchase the goods, the entries look like that. You see in your screen the purchase account debit rupees 15,000 to Matthew account debit to Matthew account credit rupees 15,000. On the other hand, Mr. Matthew in his books of account enters the entry when he made the sales to George. George's account debit rupees 15,000 to sales account rupees 15,000 and he increased his debtors by rupees 15,000. When Mr. George returned the goods to the Mr. Matthews, Mr. George passed journal entries in his books of account. Matthew account debit rupees 4,000 to purchase account debit. At that point, when he reduced his creditors by rupees 4,000 by debiting Mr. Matthews account, he need to issue that debit note because he debit Mr. Matthews account. In the books of Matthews, when he received his sales returns goods, he enters the entries sales account debit rupees 4,000 to George's account rupees 4,000. Because he credit the Mr. George's account by rupees 4,000, he need to issue debit credit note to Mr. George. If you see on your screen that you knows about why they issue the debit note and credit note. Now my friend completely understand that what he need to do with that debit note. He need to issue the credit note to his party.